I'm KB with Nerdophiles. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Thank you. Okay, listen. 98% of the time, I was like, Beth, trust no one. Like, I was like, you can't trust a single person here. But yet she trusts Zayn. And, again, I truly felt like, can't trust a single human being you meet on this Croatian vacation, not even your best friend, really. So, what is it that she sees in Zayn that kind of puts her at ease a bit?
That is a really good question. Well, I think that what is probably and hopefully well executed in the case of the, filmmakers, for the audience is that you do go, well, what are his intentions and should she trust him? I think that Ziad Bakri, who portrayed Zayn wonderfully, and I just love him. I think that he does have this really amazing way of just setting you at ease and being warm and familiar and heroic, even just in his attitude and his sort of like basic, way of being, So I think that that is a part of it. And I think, there is something about a shared feeling of like I guess what I think a lot of people probably share with each other, at least in like closer friendships, particularly the ones that develop quickly, is like they have a shared sense of past trauma,
Mm.
and she's been where he's from. She's lived there, and so she knows to an extent what he's been through. And what she's going through now is so tragic. So I do think that they have that with each other. Maybe that's what brings them together. Um, and yet I do think that, thankfully, especially for the audience, like it does ride the line of, are they, are they romantic? Is that something? Also, is it right or is it wrong? Do you root for it? you know, or is this the wrong choice for her? And I think one of the things that he says to her a lot, which I think is one of the main points of her whole journey in the film, is that she should trust herself. When you say trust
Yep.
no one, it's only her, is she's got to start to believe in herself, trust her gut instinct, and trust her heart. And yeah, so luckily she has somebody briefly on her side for that.
Yeah, I will say I was rooting for them, but not really. And I only say not really because it's that point that you just brought up. I wanted her to just choose herself and her own life and to rebuild in the end, right? Like, she had been through so much trauma, as you said. And I was just really hoping at the end that she could just, be the mom that she wanted to be, get back into the career that you could see she really loved and wanted to get back to, like deep in her eyes. I wanted her to just set herself up for success. Although I did think, like, oh, they would be good partners. But I know, like, timing is everything. And I was like, she needs time to be alone and to, like,
Sure.
actually heal and deal with the trauma of everything that's happened, for sure.
Yes. Yes. I agree. I agree. I disagree. That's it.
Well, my last question is, like, what is it about Beth that really drew you into her? Because, some of those things that I loved is that Beth was truly just so positive about life. Like, she was giving everyone the benefit of the doubt. And I was like, okay, Beth, so what was it that drew you to her?
Well, I think like she is coming out of, and I think like even people who don't have or who aren't new moms, obviously she's a new mom. She has a kid that's a 1 year old. So she's coming out of this new sort of fresh time. But I think even people who aren't going through that have just come out of COVID times, or are we coming
Mm.
out of it? We don't even know yet. Maybe never. Who knows? Uh, this took a bad turn. But like I think that it is coming out of this fresh, fragile, tender, emotional time. And I think that she's coming out of it, having completely, her whole life has changed. I mean, she's had a child. I completely understand how that feels now twice. Like, being like, well, I'm not who I was at all. Whatever I was is gone. And now I have this other part of me that's been awakened. And I think that, what's kind of nice is this underlying theme of like, trust, of course, trust your heart, trust yourself. Meanwhile, there is a huge part of our society, of our culture, that says don't believe in yourself. Or, in the case of the cops in this film, they're not listening to her, they're not taking her seriously. In fact, they're blaming her. So it's a really fragile and delicate place to be. And I think that she's doubting herself a lot. I think that perhaps we can understand that, her marriage is, not exactly what it used to be. The flame isn't there exactly in the way that it was. And I think that as you become a mom, you realize that those things change too, ultimately, hopefully for the better. But, she's sort of coming into that and going like, who am I now? And so I think that the weekend away for her means a lot more than just going away for a weekend and being with her friend. That friendship is fraught. Being away from her husband and child is emotional and filled with guilt. Obviously it takes a crazy turn.
Right. But she does learn how to advocate for herself. And I do think that, like, I love that part of the ending for her. So just thank you so much for chatting with Nerdophiles. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.